Here's my preview of the 7 seed Baylor versus the 2 seed UCONN in the NCAA tournament. First of all, the game will start at, I know it's at 8 p.m. It's just which station, which I know it's not showing on ESPN right now, but Baylor women's basketball Twitter page, social media page announced it to be 8 p.m. on ESPN. So that's just an FYI on that. And I'm going to go over the starters for UConn women's basketball to begin this video. Then I'll go over the stats. And you will know who their starters are. And I know they played more players against Vermont. But I know one thing. They don't have Paige Bueckers. They have 2 season-ending injuries for this UConn team. So we don't have to go against Paige Bueckers, which will help. But it was already a given anyway. Let's be clear. The starters are Nika Mule, obviously, Azzi Fudd, Dorka Uhas, Lou Lopez Senecal, and Aaliyah Edwards. And most of those are double-digit scores, with exception to Nika Mule. But now I'll go over the stats. And I'm going to put the stats in the description below so y'all can see it. Aaliyah Edwards is their leading scorer. Number 3. 6'3" forward. That's a junior. 16.9 points per game. 1 for 1 and 3. So she's not a 3-point shooter by any means. 115 to 149 on free throws. 9.2 rebounds per game. 2.5 assists per game. 3 turnovers per game. 1.2 steals per game. 1.2 blocks per game. 2.5 fouls per game. Lou Lopez Senecal. Number 11. 6'1" forward. That's a senior. 5.5 points per game. 15.5 points per game. 72 for 167 on threes. 71 for 84 on free throws. 3.1 rebounds per game. 2 turnovers per game. 2.2 fouls per game. Azzi Fudd, number 35. 5'11" guard. That's a sophomore. 14.7 points per game. 29 for 79 on threes. 14 for 15 on free throws. 2.1 assists per game. 1.5 turnovers per game. 1.2 steals per game. 1 foul per game. Dorka Uhas, number 14. 6'5" forward. That's a senior. 14.3 points per game. 23 for 78 on threes. 58 for 92 on free throws. 10 rebounds per game. 1.4 fouls per game. 2.1 turnovers per game. 1.4 blocks per game. 1.4 steals per game. Aubrey Griffin, she comes off the bench, by the way, and plays the most minutes. Number 44, 6'1" forward. That's a junior. 11.9 points per game. 16 for 55 on threes. 88 for 109 on free throws. 6.6 rebounds per game. 1.8 turnovers per game. 1.5 steals per game. 1.9 fouls per game. Caroline Ducharme, or Ducharme. I apologize if I butchered that, but either way. Number 33, 6'2" guard. That's a sophomore. 7.6 points per game. 23 for 67 on threes. 16 for 24 on free throws. 4 rebounds per game. 1.9 turnovers per game. And 1.3 fouls per game. Nika Mule, number 10, 5'10" guard. That's a junior. 7.3 points per game. 36 for 103 on threes. 49 for 66 on free throws. 4 rebounds per game. 7.9 assists per game. 3.5 turnovers per game. 1.4 steals per game. 2.3 fouls per game. Now the last few hardly play, but I'm going to just go ahead and mention them anyway. Ayanna Patterson, number 34. 6'2" forward. That's a freshman. 2.3 points per game. 21 for 29 on free throws. 2.4 rebounds per game. 0.8 turnovers per game. 1.8 fouls per game. Amar DeBerry, number 42. 6'5" forward. That's a sophomore. 2.3 points per game. 5 for 17 on threes. 5 for 12 on free throws. 1.2 turnovers per game. 0.7 blocks per game. 1.4 fouls per game. Inez Bencourt, number 21. 5'9" guard as a freshman. 1.4 points per game. 5 for 14 on threes. 5 for 6 on free throws. 1 turnover per game. 0.7 fouls per game. So as you can tell, with the exception of those last 3 players, listed. That's most of the players that they use above. So overall, across the board, limit your foul trouble. Not only that, you can't be intimidated going into this game. I mean, you can't just look on the name of the jersey and say, we're automatically going to lose. No, you're not necessarily. And you can't. You have to play with a lot of confidence, especially when you're coming off of a win, like you did coming back from 18 down. But I will say you don't want to get down 18 early to UConn again. UConn in this game. I can promise you that. And they're not invincible by any means. I mean, they're not. They lost to St. John's. They lost to Marquette this year. Both of those, 11 seed or work, or a little bit better, but not too much better. I mean, I'm just not lying. First of all, defensively, you got to limit their shooters. You got to get the rebound on the misses. They will make you pay. So you got to limit the second chance points. Points in transition, and points off turnovers, you got to limit, as well as the points in the paint as much as you can. I mean, that's the truth about UConn on that. They also have been in games that they should. I mean, they were tied in games that they shouldn't, like DePaul. For example, Creighton. I mean, yeah, like I said, St. John's beat them, and it was at their place at UConn. I believe it was, but I'm going to double check. Yep. It was at UConn at that, so. Yeah. You got to limit the free throw attempts, obviously. You got to pay attention to the scouting report and make adjustments on the fly. And of course, offensively, you got to defensively, make them turn the ball over so you get some points in transition and points on turnovers, which leads me to the offensive side. You got to get some points on turnovers. Second chance points. Fast break points. And you got to make some threes, because if we could hit threes, that'll help. And of course, you got to get some good shot selection and rebound the ball, of course, so you could get those second chance points. Whether it's up close or kick it out for a three. So that, and make your free throws count like you did last game. So that's obvious to me on that situation. Of course, you don't want to be down big to UConn early, especially when they have a home crowd advantage. And I know you've played better on the road this year. I mean, you beat Texas at Texas with a great home crowd. You beat Iowa State at Iowa State with a great home crowd. I mean, Oklahoma at Oklahoma. You have nothing to lose in this game. Regardless whatever happens, just fight and muck this game up. In terms of, let's make it ugly. I mean, make it closer for UConn than their fans expect. And when you look at the film, you might see some UConn players laughing at the beginning. Use that as a motivation. Because then their faces got like, uh-oh. I mean, yeah, I noticed that. You got to use that as motivation. As well as what happened. You don't want to say what happened 2 years ago was really screwed by the refs. Because Baylor did not make enough plays to win that game. But you got to admit, that was a foul at the very end. I mean, you can't deny that. I mean, I know some of the players back then that are currently on the team, they didn't play that a ton of minutes in that game. Or they had to be thrown in action like Sarah Andrews. It would be huge if she would step up. Jamie Asbury, like she did. Jane Owens. Daryl Page Buggs, which I know she had to tape her finger the last game. And you got to have Kaylin Bickle step up. You got to have Bella Fauntleroy step up. Cameron Ferreira, she gets to play. Same thing goes for Erica Porter. And same thing goes for Kyle Abraham, as well as Jan Van Geijenbeek as well. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, when you look at it, that's naming every healthy player, with exception of Kendrick Gillespie, who's entered the transfer portal, and no Asia Blackwell, obviously, and no Dre Edwards. But that's just a different story. But I know this is a good measuring stick game where we're at, regardless what happens with this with this roster and what's gone on, like with injury, sickness, and no waiver sign from that Kentucky women's basketball coach. So, for Dre Edwards, I mean, So, we have nothing to lose. We have all to gain. UConn has all the pressure on them. 1, they're at home. 2, they don't want to be that team first time since 2007 to not make a Final Four. So, or even make it out of the... It's been forever since they've not been to the round of 30... to the Sweet 16 too. So, you have nothing to lose. And whatever happens, happens. Anyways, if you like this content, hit like and subscribe. See you guys later. 5 subscribers. We're on the road to it. Let's go.